Welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And we are on to another summer edition of News and Notes. In the past couple of weeks, the Devils have made some small little signings and deals, and I thought I'd recap them all in one nice little video for you here. So we start off at about a week and a half ago. The New Jersey Devils announced they've signed Adam Beckman to a one-year, two-way deal. Adam Beckman came to us from the Minnesota Wild in the trade for Graham Clark a couple months back. More than likely a depth move for the Utica Comets. I expect to see Beckman start the season in Utica, but having depth centers is always a good thing. Centers are not easy to come by and large, and with injuries, and we all saw last year how that could go, it's always nice to have some depth centers. I fully expect Beckman to be in camp and to be competing for a job. You never know what could happen, and he'll be there, most likely to start in Utica, but it'll be very interesting to keep an eye on him. You look at last season, he played 11 games for the Wild. He had 2 assists for 2 points, finishing a -2. And then we look at his AHL stats. He played for the Iowa Wild for the majority of the season. He had 33 points in 51 games, finishing a -13. The next deal on the docket for the Devils was signing Cam Squires to his entry-level contract. There's the picture of him signing the deal. Young Squire signs the deal. And a lot of people are high on this kid. We look at his stats. You know, he's played in the QMJHL for the past few seasons. In 21-22, he had 34 points in 64 games. Then in 22-23, significant improvement to almost a point per game player, 64 points in 67 games played. And then finally last season, over a point per game player, he had 72 points in 66 games. A lot of people are high on this kid. A lot of you on this channel are very high on him. I believe someone has seen him play locally a bunch of times and really likes what he brings. Another guy I fully expect to be at camp, fighting for a job. More than likely will start the season in Utica, but you never know. With injuries, and you never could know. And the reason I think a lot of these little small tinkerings make it super interesting from my perspective is when I looked at the forward depth that we have currently. You see the graphic here. These are lines that a website has as like projected lines. I'm not saying ignore that piece of it. I don't think these are going to be the lines. I'll eventually be putting out a video with my line predictions and things. But when you look at the forward grouping, when you look at the top 12 forwards, Palat, Hischier, Bratt, Meyer, Hughes, Mercer, Tatar, Haula, Nason, Cotter, Lazar, Bastian, there's 12 forwards right there before you even include Curtis McDermott and Foote. And now you also have in the mix Cam Squires, Adam Beckman, and then maybe a couple other guys that are going to be trying to squeeze their way into the lineup, guys like Hallinan, and there might be another couple like that. But you look, you know, with the 12 forwards there, and then you have McDermott, Foote, Squires, Beckman. We have a lot of forwards, and especially in the bottom 6. I think it's going to be very interesting to see if there's any shocking revelations coming out of camp and if any of these guys forced their way onto the NHL roster for opening day. But it seems like we are pretty deep at forward right now as well, and I wouldn't be surprised if, looking at the list here, it just seems like out of all these guys, Bastian would probably be the most expendable, just because we have, we're not going to get rid of McDermott. We obviously signed him as the Rempe Pest Control, and any other heavyweights that want to try to take liberties with this New Jersey Devils club, Curtis McDermott ain't having it, and he'll be out there patrolling for sure. And then Foote, a lot of people are high on Foote, as am I. With his injury history, he never got to really fulfill his potential. A lot of people think he could possibly be a top 6 guy, and who's to say he can't? So it'll be very interesting to see that with Foote. And now you have Squires just signed his entry level. He's going to be itching to get to the big club, and it's all very interesting. And then we also have Beckman and, like I said, a couple other guys. So extremely deep at forward at the moment. It seems like we could potentially move on from Bastian at some point to free up some cap space in a roster spot. I don't know if that's in the plans or what Fitz is planning to do here, but we are pretty deep at forward when you're looking at this chart. And then we go on to a defensive maneuver. On the blue line, the Devils announced 4 days ago, we've signed defenseman Santeri Hatakka to a 1-year, 2-way contract. Again, fully expect him to start the season in Utica for the Comets, but he looked pretty good in limited time on the Devils last year as well. We look at his stats from last season. He had 2 assists in 12 games with the Devils, finishing a +5, which for anyone to finish plus on last year's Devils team is a achievement in itself, honestly. And then you look at his Utica numbers. He had 5 goals and 15 assists for 20 points in 48 games played. I like Hatakka. I like him a lot. Heading into this summer before we signed Pesce and Dillon, I thought there was a very good chance that he was going to be on the team next year. So, again, now we look at the defense depth. And again, I don't know that these are going to be the pairings, but let's just for the sake of seeing the names out there, we have in our top 6, Siegenthaler, Hamilton, Hughes, Pesce, Dillon, Nemitz. And then you go to the next level of defensemen, Jonathan Kovacevic, big body, right-handed shot. A lot of people are very high on him and think he has way more potential than what he had shown in Montreal with the limited opportunities he had there. We also have Nick DeSimone coming back, and now we signed Hatakka. So, again, I look at this and I say, okay, what pieces might be extraneous, who might get moved, and obviously the glaring one is Siegenthaler. I have to believe Siegenthaler will be getting shopped by Fitzgerald. That would free up cap space in another spot, and Hatakka could slide right in there. He's a left shot. So again, with that top 6 and Kovacevic, DeSimone, Hatakka, it just seems like we have plenty of defensemen at the moment, and that's not even including Seamus Casey, obviously, who's going to start the season in Utica. You'd like to have the cupboard full in case of injuries. Again, we saw last year what could happen, but it seems like Siegenthaler could be moved out, free up that salary, free up that spot, and Hatakka could slide right in there. I don't know. Again, we may see the opening day lineup look exactly like what they have listed here, and Hatakka might just be a purely depth minor league player at the moment. But I think a lot of people, including myself, would probably prefer to move on from Siegenthaler and slide Hatakka right in that spot. Or, if the pairings move around wherever else. But in that top 6 defenseman, very interesting stuff. I think the Devils have a lot of flexibility with the roster now. It seems like we are pretty deep at both defense and forward, and we might see some moves. And then I saw this headline a few days ago. Massive QMJHL defenseman receives invite to Devils training camp. The New Jersey Devils have already begun to hand out invites for September ahead of the 24-25 regular season. A team source confirms to New Jersey Hockey Now that 6'5", 206-pound defenseman Igor Mburanumwe was invited to training camp in this fall. Rookies will report on September 11th. I did some digging on this kid. Igor Mburanumwe is an absolute beast. 6 foot, 206 pounds. Love to see Fitzgerald continuing on with the element of heavier, edgier, more violent. This kid definitely fits the bill. Played the last several seasons in the QMJHL as well. Looking to continue on with his career. I believe he's going to the Canadian equivalent of college or NCAA hockey for next season. And I'm sure he's going to be coming to camp looking to make a name for himself. Love to see big bodies, especially on the blue line. Only 20 years old. Still a kid, essentially. When he fills into his man body, he might grow another inch or two and obviously could gain several pounds. He could be another monster in the pipeline down the line with the Salayevs of the world. Will be interesting to see what he brings at camp, and I'm hoping to see him in person for sure. And then we get to some interesting, what I call summer shenanigans. There's a few different summer leagues. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there's a few summer leagues that NHL players play in just to kind of stay sharp and work on their conditioning and things in the offseason. One of them is called dabeautyleague. Dabeautyleague. And Erik Haula plays in this dabeautyleague, and he had an absolute filthy breakaway goal. Check it out here.
A guy that just consistently proves his merit. Now he's got a chance back. One time. Oh! Clap bomb, Erik Haula. Back-to-back goals, 6-3.
If you're a goaltender and you get scored on like that, how do you react? Do you chase down whoever took the slap shot on you?
He did this goalie absolutely dirty. Hope to see a lot of magic from Erik Haula next season. I think he's another one of those guys that's going to be fighting for a top 6 spot, and we'll see how that all shakes out as well. A lot of guys are going to be fighting for that top 6 spot. We're going to see who comes out of camp and starts opening day in that top 6 role. Not too much else going on. We are in the dog days of summer. I appreciate you all watching. Thank you very much. Poke around the channel. There's been interesting stuff if you're new over the past few weeks in the past season or so. I'll be back soon with any sort of news and updates that come along. I'm working on some other special projects. I'm going to soon do my first couple chapters of the summer reading assignment for the Martin Brodeur autobiography, Brodeur Beyond the Crease. I will see you all soon. I will talk to you all soon. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.